Or like.
Sweet. Want to check your phone real quick? 1 second, team. Just trying to make sure all our technical difficulties are not difficulties. All right, team. Getting my thumbs up. All right, team. Just like before, got our pressure defense class. It's going to be mostly submission-minded. There's some things that I forgot to put in on Tuesday. Who knows if it's going to end up making it a longer class than a longer? Probably not. But as always, we're going to warm up, and this is mostly for our benefit, trying to stay in shape for when and if we get back to the gym in a normal capacity. So we're just going to start on the wall, get our basic major joints warmed up, hips and shoulders. We'll move on from there. Complete those sound effects. Anyway, I came in, I was blasting. Heels, toes. Marry that. I can't say the other thing. Roxy would like it that way. Torso twist. Extras. Circles out of your head and neck. Chin to chest. Ear to your shoulder. Forward up, backwards. Side to side. Set that timer for 1 minute. Just get our basic workout in. Squats. I'm going to do squat calf raisers. Just get a whole extension on that. Oh, my legs are already sore from the workout before. Not cool. Done. Oh, the ankle. Nope. Parachuters for the wicked. 10 seconds meditation time. Think about this, think about that, think about nothing, think about the void. Almost done. Just do it in the middle, deep breath burning. Big breath in through your nose, like the wake up stretch. Exhale through your mouth, never hold your breath. Now, how many times a day do you take a full deep breath? Pretty rare. It's a good thing to do when you're stressed out. I'm sure a lot of us are these days. About halfway through. We're just going to get a basic series of stretches in. We're going to start from standing actually. Just a pistol squat. So arms up in the air, thrust our hips forward. Breath in, exhale out. Let's go arm across the chest. Same thing, big breath in, exhale out. Switch to the other, same old thing. Breath in, exhale out. Arm behind your head. Big breath in. Exhale out. Repeat the process on the other side. I think you're getting the program. And exhale, let's go and touch our toes. Another deep breath, walking out. Breath in. Push those hips down. Exhale, jump up. Sit on the butt. Those legs stretched out and lay out. Pretty good. Choose whatever side you feel like you want to start with. Switch legs. Both legs forward. Open up. Release the pants pull. The legs over your head. get our key on, and start talking. Okay, team, this is week 3 of the pressure defense series that I'm doing. Okay, after next week, it'll probably be another thing. I haven't quite decided what that is yet. But for now, we're still in the mind of sweeps. Okay, so if you don't know the recovery, obviously you're going to see me doing it, but I'm not really going to explain too much about how I'm recovering. I'm going to be explaining more about the submission positions. And like I said, there's some things that I forgot to go over on Tuesday. Some things slipped my mind, and happens that way. I have a lot of things written down, so I'm not going to be able to forget anything today. But I'm going to gloss over those things that I forgot to talk about. Generally, some lasso, some really classic lasso situations. A lot of us, probably the first time you saw it, were like, "Oh wow, like that's fancy," but it's really not that difficult. But it's good to just kind of know how to use the lasso in a bunch of different ways, top and bottom. Whether you can do it or not, you need to be able to, defend something as well as understand the attack. If you don't like the attack or your body's not good for it, that's one thing. But on the other side of the coin, you have to be aware of it, right? And there's always kind of there's 3 perspectives to jiu-jitsu. Obviously, there's 2 people fighting each other. There's also that third person observing it and seeing what's going on with that, right? So let's go back to where we were. Very first week, either double under, single under, whatever it is. Yep, blocking 1, 2, 3. And now I'm here. Okay, I'm gonna go through all those stages. I got him in place. So maybe he was just even sitting back. He's just sitting back for me, right? And it allows me to do all this situation here. Okay. So what I forgot to talk about is all these positions here. Okay, because my brain is kind of teeming and showing more unorthodox positions, but I can't not show these positions here. Okay. Yeah, that's generally, he already has his hand there, thinking that he's going to push my knee or doing something on his terms, and that's okay because he's actually going to help me along. So right now I have a deep lasso. There's a lot of different reasons why I would have my foot maybe on the shoulder, or maybe just kind of a loose hook, or either just a little jiu-jitsu hook around the tricep. But right now I'm going to go deep on that. That's going to be a telltale sign for a lot of things. Okay, either I'm going to pull through for normal plata. So generally I'll do that from a safer position from spider here. I can move my foot in here. You're probably asking yourself, what's preventing me from throwing that there? Well, sometimes maybe his hand's in the way or whatever the situation is, and he's going that direction. So they're generally going to be moving out of the range of my right leg because they're passing, right? What's the definition of passing? It's trying to get outside of my legs as much as possible, right? And I'm always going to try to fight, if I'm the top person, to try to at least get the feet to the outside. In this case, I technically don't have my opponent in between my legs, which is kind of a dangerous situation, but I have other things in between my legs. I have his arm, right? And I'm basically going to be using all my body against his arm in this case. He doesn't even have to move on this, but he could help me out, right? So I'm going to go through all of this space. Where my right leg is, that's where the rest of my body is going to go. I'm going to spin on the small of my back, and I'm going to pull for the omoplata. If I feel like the omoplata situation is in here, it's mostly going to be a sweep, right? Sorry, there's some debris in my face here. Okay. If I feel like I'm going to go all the way around, now I escape my leg, and I can bring this back to a triangle position here, right? And I used to love this at a blue belt level, and you catch people because they don't know how to pass a lasso, not sure what's going on. You're generally going to be in a good position to attack. Here, got my lasso, I didn't get all of this situation. I'm going to spin through, super classic motion. Everybody's probably seen this before. If I want to sweep, I can kick through, end up on top. And last week I talked a lot about this position here. Get ourselves in the shot a little bit better. I got my lasso. All right, I got both of my jiu-jitsu hooks nice and strong. I'm going to start to shoot deep, and I'm going to spin through. Once again, I might be able to go for my sweep, or be able to spin through and get everything going on here. And in theory, angle, finish, and you still can hit the arm lock out of all of that too. Okay. So I wanted to just show that a little bit, not necessarily explain too much more on that. And of course, there's a couple other things that can happen from there, but I have a bunch of things that I need to show. Okay, team. I want to actually flip the script a little bit here. So while we're still talking about this position here, I actually want to show a submission from the top position from the initial recovery position. So I'm going to put Chuck on his back here, and I'm pretty sure he's been paying attention this whole time. Let me try to figure out the best angle for this. Thinking it's going to be like this. Okay, so I'm smashing through, thinking about what I want to do on this. Good, leg over. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go for an unorthodox footlock entry. So generally, it's unorthodox because I'm on top. Most people, when they're on top, they won't sit for footlocks. It's generally kind of not a smart thing to do unless you have a really, really strong footlock. But in my story is the first time I actually was taught a footlock was from this position, which I think is pretty crazy and stupid, but it was just what happened. Like, I was a purple belt before I actually got an official like ankle lock talking to by my instructor, not even a class. Like, it was around the years where the rules changed when white belts started to get allowed to do ankle locks. If everybody remembers, that was like kind of around, dating myself a little bit, 2012, 2013. I don't know, I'm gonna be probably like, oh, date yourself, you're so young. Anyway, like, it's hard, my memory is just bad. It's probably around that time they changed the rules, and I was coaching a white belt at a tournament, and he got caught in a footlock, and I'm like, crap, I don't know. I really don't know what to do other than, boot or like grab the guy, but like, that's not really going to help much. And this poor white belt got stuck in like a ankle lock position for minutes and eventually got tapped because, you want to get your foot broken, especially at that level when you don't know what's going on. So I go back to my instructor and be like, hey, this happened. Because of course he wasn't there, just to see it happening even worse. So, but this was the first position that he showed me ankle lock from. And it's going to be unorthodox, meaning normally when people hit their foot locks, it's going to be like so here, and my legs are trapping like so. Basic ashigarami and the basic leg entanglement. So right now, because of the way his recovery was, it's on this side. Okay, so I'm just kind of showing the situation while I have his leg. So there's a couple different ways that I can finish this. I can grab with the near side arm and grab deep, and grabbing forearm deep on this. Because of the way the rules work and kind of rules and etiquette and that sort of thing, I want to finish towards this side here, okay? Because as I start to turn here, I'm going to start hurting my opponent's knee on this, okay? So when I turn this direction, this is going to be a little bit nicer. Not that I can't hurt his knee and his hip going this direction. It's just going to create less torque in that regard here. Okay? So I'll keep this nice and tight. I like to keep my hook up. I like to pinch here, right? Like I said, there's a couple different ways you can finish this. If I want to go deep and collapse, and I have this sideways motion, I can finish like so, right? Sometimes people like to finish this by staying up and kind of stretching this out, and I still might be able to finish that there. The worst thing that we can possibly do, or the meanest thing, I think, is sitting down and going for this little switch grip here, okay? Dean Lister calls this the corkscrew footlock, and it's extremely, extremely powerful. So I'm basically just switching one thing to the other. I have them trapped with both, and actually I could probably finish it from here too. This is like a little reverse grip ankle lock too. It's really nasty. But in this case, I'm going to switch over my forearm to the side of his foot, right? Kind of looking for just that little divot, that little arch. Sometimes it's over near the top of the toes. Sometimes it's a little bit lower here. Some people's feet are bigger and smaller. You kind of have to adjust as you need to. But you're going to feel extremely powerful here because I'm basically just throwing his ankle over my forearm here. Really, really freaking mean ankle lock here. Really, really tight, and I'm just moving my upper body over the lower arm, and I'm not even going to go any further than that because there's no reason to. I want Chuck to be able to come back in tomorrow and do what I needed to do. So here we go. So I'm going to kind of show you in sequence. So once again, it's going to catch your opponent off guard a little bit because you were vigorously trying to pass, right? Maybe you even tried twice, and it's like, screw it. Like John Donner says, if you can't pass your opponent's guard, fuck it, go for an ankle lock. So sorry, my language. I think he actually uses that verbatim though. We go here, turning to the side, boom, here we go. So I'm gonna catch the foot. Right now you can't see it, I'm moving this way. Right now he has his foot on my hip. Okay, move back this way. Okay, so I'm gonna feel this, and I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna go right leg up, okay? Well, I might be able to go the other way too, but right now I need to take weight off my other leg so I can sit down, okay? And I'm really just thinking about controlling this position for the moment. And I can actually use this for a pass too, which I'll show right here in a second here, okay? So I'm gonna finish this position. There's a couple different ways. I wanna try to find the sweet spot. So if this has been described a lot of different ways how to finish this ankle lock. Really, I could just crush his calf. And if you're strong enough, you might be able to break this bone here. I've heard that breaking. Oleg Tektarov talks about how God made this little divot here to fit under the Achilles, right? I'm kind of a fan of, when I think of my ankle lock, I'm actually thinking it's foot lock, right? I'm trying to bend the foot. There's actually a whole extra joint inside of this foot that I've had to learn firsthand by getting my foot folded up, right? And some of the most flexible girls, if you watch some of the worlds, those girls will let their toe get totally torn towards their heel, which is madness. But there's, like I said, a hidden joint in here. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find the sweet spot, which is basically the top of my armpit over the top of my opponent's toes here, okay? And I could actually finish it without reaching under and through. If I have this good, strong position here, if I find the proper position, he's gonna tap to that, right? That's one, right? If I want to, I can go deep. I can double up my grip, kind of like a guillotine, staying sideways, I can finish there. I can be up and try to suck it in and find that sweet spot and keep arching, right? If all of that's not working, sit down, switch my grips, corkscrew grip, gable grip, palm facing away. I have a palm facing me grip in front of his foot, palm facing away on the inside of his foot here, reaching my fingers together. And just the act of me locking this up is really, really neat. Right now, I feel like I haven't found the sweet spot. That's that spot that I want. And it could be even worse from here. And I'm just turning and finishing. Corkscrew foot lock. If this isn't a good enough video for you to see that, look, Dean Lister has one. You can just look it up right away. It's extremely valuable. Again. Well, I'm thinking, yeah, he gave me the foot. I'm already up. I'm gonna sit. Okay. So yeah, so see how he's thinking about getting up? So I'm actually gonna get up on this. Okay. So if he's sitting up, and I feel like he's probably gonna spin. Even though if he spins, he's putting himself belly down. It might be the dumbest thing that he did. And he actually be showing his back to me when he turns. I'm not gonna quite talk about that right now, but I want to get up on top on this. Okay. I was showing some people this recently. So I'm gonna push my opponent down. And I want to get up at the same time. So I'm going to push him down, and notice how I'm getting up to my elbow, okay? While my foot is still on his hip, not necessarily going across from here. Depending on the situation, I could actually turn this into a little side saddle position or saikaku or whatever, but I'm going to leave that for later. I want to think about just coming up to my leg drag. So I'm going to move my armpit past his knee joint, right? I'm just going to sit up from here. I'm going to try to reach for a grip and do what I can and get up on top, basically salvaging the position. I'll show it from whatever angle, and I'm going to move on from this series. So it's just another thing to think about, right? You're never always in the driver's seat. Somebody can throw a little monkey wrench in the engine and mess everything up. So I got this guy's trying to pass. Oh, here we are, right? Let's sit. Think about my foot lock. Well, I'm not really thinking about that. I didn't get what I got, but I'm just grabbing the knee right now, and I could be adjusting with my armpit, because I could always go back to that if I wanted to, right? But now I'm thinking about getting up, thinking about passing and salvaging this position, push my opponent down. See how I'm going to get up on this. I'm going to use everything I can to try to push my opponent to the side. Okay, if he's fighting me really hard, I'm going to fight him with my armpit here too. Push myself up and grab some sort of grip. I'm usually thinking about trying to attack my opponent too. Dekill, attack, pass, all that good stuff. Give me 1 second, team. I'll look over my notes, stay on track. Where did it go? There we go. All right, team. So, I remember talking about this moment. Yeah, sometimes we're here, right? Maybe you're in a situation where they only have one under, okay? I've got control here. Sometimes maybe you messed up this battle, okay? So just really quick, before that. So this is a good position for me, obviously. I have a good open guard position. I got my foot on the hip. I got a collar and a sleeve. I'm manipulating the posture, right? You know, depending on what's going on from here, obviously you think like if he goes under, he's probably going to get triangled, right? Well, I'm going to be trying to fight from a better position than my opponent, or there's a battle that I want you to be aware of. So some people are big enough that, like I was saying before, that they'll bait that one arm under to expose the triangle so that they can pass, right? Or maybe they're just trying to throw you over your shoulder, whatever it is, okay? So it's up to you to use that momentum either to spin through or to fight their leg or use your leg to fight their arm to hip escape here. Okay. So what am I talking about? So let's say, remember that first pass that we were talking about, the one that normally doesn't get taught anymore, but there's gonna be a situation where somebody reaches under your leg, single leg, okay? I just wanna step your leg up, Chuck, remember balance towards that side, good, reach under, good. So there's gonna be this moment, okay? If you don't have a counter for this moment, obviously I could have swept him, I could have did this, I could have did that, but this is happening. He's lifting my leg over. So there's a moment, he's going elbow joint to knee joint. He needs to get low enough that this battle goes leg to the body, okay? And now I'm not screwed necessarily, I'm just going lower down the tier that I prefer, okay? So I wanna fight him while that battle is the leg versus the arm here, okay? Because he has to do that little shuck. He has to lift this up, yes. That moment that he lifts, I'm gonna use that against my opponent, okay? He's gonna do me a favor on this. So we'll go back to close guard. So we're here, he's gonna step his leg up. Yep, he's reaching under. I felt that, hips up, over my shoulder, and I'm going straight into attack mode right now, okay? Because we're talking about attacks, we're going straight to attack mode, okay? We're gonna go for our triangle, especially because he had that leg up, he's gonna make my life really, really easy. So I'm gonna go hips up, trap, and just finish that really easily, okay? I can also go straight to my arm lock, right? Depending on what happens from there. I still also have this arm to wrap up in the end too. So if you go and takes everything out, that's fine. Look where we are. Whoa, triangle on the other side, like I was just showing last week. Wake up. Oh, there we are. This feels pretty fluid. I choose when he moves in. I'm gonna bring my hips square and protect the integrity of my body, but I'm ultimately gonna angle out. I have to bring him in slightly for a moment, but then I'm going out. Now, right now, we're straight to the arm lock. We're here. Maybe you miss everything, but I never lose everything. I'm back to recovery position. At this point, I see that he's exposing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use this to get myself out and finish it. So with all that back and forth submission work there, I kind of want to show or talk about, the golden 3 submissions for the most part, right? So for me, the way I kind of always hunt and attack for the most part, not always 100%, but there's always kind of like a circle of submissions. It's basically, you start with the arm lock, they pull one arm out, right? You have one arm in, it's usually triangle. You have the options to switch to omoplata, all that good stuff, and also the arm lock with it. But obviously if you lose everything, you don't ever lose everything. You're gonna find something along the way. So I kind of just want to talk about the general way that I'm going to practice. Like basically, you should be able to hit submissions on all sides and just know where your patterns are going to come from. Okay, so what am I talking about? So there's a lot of different ways we can hit our arm lock. I'm just going to go kind of for my preferred way. Okay, so I'm going to break my opponent's arm down. So you can do your arm lock in a bunch of different ways. Like you don't have to necessarily do it the way I'm doing it. But what we're getting at is our opponent is going to be reacting for us, right? Generally, when we go for the arm lock, they start to defend one arm. They start to stack a little bit. And generally, they'll start to take their elbow out and then their wrist out and be thinking about the next thing, right? Either passing. For me, I want to be thinking about I'm never losing my position. But there's one thing that you have to know, right? So when I'm going for my arm lock, when I lose the elbow, when I start losing that position there, it doesn't make sense to try to keep that arm. Just let it go. Just let them do what they're going to do naturally. People are going to just find themselves in traps. Half the time, I'm not doing a lot of the work. My opponent's doing more work than me. And if they're not doing enough work, I got to make them work. But that's a whole other subject. So doing what I can, 2-on-1 here. I can use my bite, use my legs. This is kind of my preferred way to hit this. I'll use my bite, break this down a little bit, right? If I feel like it's hard to do that, I'll break them down a little bit. But at the same time, I'm going to throw my legs up. I'm a big fan of this high guard style armbar here, kind of like an in-between position. Because it's very, very difficult, not impossible, to just throw your arm lock up. It's good to have in-between positions. I have this like folder in my brain where it's like, okay, this is an in-between position. What does that mean? It's just a little bit more detail in that picture, right? That allows you to see more details or just have like a bridge between one thing or the other. Maybe I'm talking about two things at once there. That's okay. So right now, I'm going to be getting my angle. I'm going to reach under, helps me to get my angle. I'm going to push on their face. I'm going to go up and over, chop down, right? So see how I've got this good heel pinching, right? Knees together. Muchacho would say, heels down like a hammer. Makes a lot of sense, right? But this is what you want, okay? And obviously, if I'm doing this all the way perfect, he's going to have to tap on that. But I'm letting my opponent react on this. He's going to block his arm, which generally they'll do, right? He's going to take his arm out. Good. I'm going to open, and I'm just going to trap over the neck here, right? So I can practice my subs. That'll be a tap there, okay? And another thing that we could do while we're here, okay, I can go hips up and switch, okay? I can go Kimura. I can also go arm lock here, right? Or just like on Tuesday, remember kind of this in-between position I was talking about, push the face, and now we're here, right? And who knows, I might have swept them or done everything, but I'm gonna reroute back to the triangle, right? I'm gonna do what I can, move this back. Maybe triangle, maybe arm lock, right? Or maybe you lose everything. Boom, that's okay. See, I'm here, that's okay. I can open, windshield wiper, kick him in the head, and finish again. And the same thing can happen from here. Look. I'm good. Oh, I hit the arm lock this time. And as you see, usually you don't have to recover too much more. And I see everything at this point. If he wants to start to reach through and be a pest here, like anywhere he reaches his hands is really just going to be bad for him. Okay. So I'm showing this because you basically can implant those positions to the beginning or at the end of sweeps or positions. Right? Like every submission position, every dominant position basically has those big three there. And obviously from certain other positions like side control and mount, there's certain chokes because higher percentage to choke somebody using the gi and that sort of thing when you're on top. Not that you can't do it from the bottom. You're always just kind of talking about percentages. You should always be playing to the percentages, right? My body type being who I am, my weight, I'm always kind of calculating, okay, do I want this guy on top of me? How much work is it going to be to get him on top of me or get him off on top of me? If somebody's lighter than me, like sometimes it's easier for me to just let somebody pass and do what they got to do, and I can actually submit you out of that. So you have to kind of, there's different increments to the work that you can do in jiu-jitsu. Okay, I'm kind of just going off on a tangent. Go back to my notes. Oh yeah, lots of cool stuff. So I just kind of I wrote that down as kind of like the submission circle because it makes sense because like you're always kind of attacking in a circle. And a thing to think about too is, you know, the choke will lead to the arm will lead to the choke. Sometimes arm will lead to the arm. It's kind of little formulas you can think of. I don't have a whiteboard. We probably should. It'd be kind of cool. Write down stuff. That might be an idea. Bing. All right. Let's go to more some, what is it? Unorthodox positions. Okay. So let's talk about, in theory, the easier thing first. Okay. So here we are on this arm again. And I know I talked a lot about how to spin out and that sort of thing. I want to talk more in depth about like the first submission that I'll try to go for here. Okay. Well, really what I have right now is a reverse omoplata. He doesn't see it yet, but I know I have it just by him reaching here. I know what I got. Okay. So I'm going to keep this tight. I'm going to spin through the same way. I'm going to come up and keep his wrist as much as I can. All right. Let's go and move to the front here. So right now I have his arm trapped in between my thigh. Let's go over here, Chuck. And you can actually trap this from this position here. Go turtle. I can show this too. So you can go far knee in. Okay. I would go near side knee here. Or this is actually my far leg. That's the near side leg here. This leg would be more for back takes. This leg more for crucifix or for the reverse omoplata. So I'm going to drive my knee inside. I'm going to use my far leg and feed it to the other. And obviously I'm just showing it because we reset our position. But these are kind of tricky because I have to spin and I have to roll. So I'm trying to make sure I stay within the camera on this. So let's move his head here. So I'm going to roll over my shoulder. So right now, Chuck isn't going to roll because I could really finish him just right out of this. And some people do. Some people are stubborn. So I know his shoulder isn't that flexible. So I'm going to actually look away from my opponent on this. I'm not rolling towards them. I'm rolling away. Okay. I'm looking away, rolling over my left shoulder. what that's gonna do is it's gonna torque up my left leg. Okay, so I'm just gonna roll slightly here, and basically it's gonna be kind of a rolling Kimura position. And he's just gonna stay there for the moment, and I wanna tap. Check. There we go. So this has happened to me before, where guys are so stubborn that they don't wanna roll. But if they know it's good for them, they're gonna roll. So let's go and talk about it. Go and look away, Chuck. Yes. We're both looking away from each other, and I roll. Let's see how I catch my opponent's leg. Right now I have his arm trapped in my leg here. Okay. There's a lot of guys that are famous for this sort of move. Keenan Cornelius is really good at this. I'm pretty sure Clark Gracie's hit it a couple times. I've been a big fan of this for a while. I love these rolling positions and shoulder locks. I'm utterly fascinated by them. So to finish this position here, okay, I'm just gonna straight sit up. Okay, just gonna start sitting up. Right now I'm gonna reach across my opponent's body so he doesn't sit up too, right? And I'm gonna start to bring my knee under my hip joint. And some people might make you do a lot of work on this, but that's okay. Let's see how much shoulder torque you can take on this. Start bringing it back, yep. Some people are insanely flexible, but it's definitely something you wanna tackle. All right, let's see if we can get all this in one shot. Here I am. Ooh, I got that trapped in my armpit. So here, I'm very sensitive. I roll out of the shot. There we go, rolling. See, I caught his leg. Now I'm gonna start to sit up. Was that? Chuck was telling me it feels nice, and it should feel nice or bad depending on your depiction of the situation here. And it's very difficult to get out. Like I said, reaching across the body, and I'm sitting up. Let me just talk about something really quick. So if I roll in such a way, and I'm still down here, this might happen. You might have did this a little bit different. Let me show you kind of how this might be different. Yeah, let's go way over here because I'm going to roll you to the side. Mad scientist stuff happening here. Here we go. So maybe I feel like I can't roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab his arm, post my hand, and I'm going to roll over my shoulder. Okay. I'm maybe thinking more crucifix minded. See how I can kind of pick his leg up, and I'm kind of trapping his arm and his leg. I prefer for him not to get up. I might be controlling the wrists. I might be thinking about going for the choke. This is a completely legitimate thing to be thinking about, reaching in deep, maybe thinking 2 hands on the collar, depending on where he is. If he exposes his shoulders to me, I might be able to bring my arm deep inside and start to straighten out from here. I shouldn't have to explain too much about the back collar chokes to the high level people. If you're a white belt watching this, sorry, a lot of this stuff's gonna be going over your head, trying to kind of feed the higher belt's mind. Not that white belts aren't people or need to have your mind stimulated, but sometimes some things are literally going to be over your head for a long time. Okay, so watch. Maybe I had all these options going on, but ultimately I was always knowing that I had this arm. So I might have been going for the choke. Watch what I'm going to do. This is a thing that I like to do. I'm pretty sure probably a Clark Gracie thing or someone else's thing. So I keep this grip. I'm going to reach across, and I might even be thinking a little bit about a choke here. So right now I'm using my arm on one side and pulling that grip. Okay, I'm using my arm as a stopper. I'm kind of pulling that grip into there. Now, he's not going to tap for that. Nobody ever taps. They're just going to turn out of the way from me and do me a favor by letting me get to this position here. Right? I'm going to keep sitting up, and cross, and finish the same way. Just kind of wanted to show that in between position. Show both of those positions one more time before I move on. And it's actually going to be still working on this under position. I'm going to start from the bottom. Here we go. He's reaching under. I see the moment. Reaching through. I got it. Right now, maybe for logistic purposes, I might be able to turn him towards me. Maybe he went over that way, his own regard. They're going to go every which direction. We're just doing this for camera purposes, right? Keep his legs separated. Yeah, they might do that. See how it's probably hard for you to see, but he's using his hand in front of his thigh. Don't use your hand in front of your thigh. Yeah, the one that's being attacked. It's very difficult for you to see, but he's trying to trap. So it's going to be very, very easy for me to just pry this thing out. Keep your hand in front. Yeah, you're probably thinking about what's the smartest thing to do. But to kill this, I can just go leg up, leg down. And I might even be able to get a sub out of that. But right now, I'm trying to stay strong on this, replace one thing with the other, and finish the same old way. Let's show the other roll, almost like the crucifix style roll. There we go. So usually from hip ride, my hip is killing me right now. So go near side knee in. Use my far leg to my near side leg, right? Now I'm trapping. Roll over shoulder. Might be thinking choke, depending on how flexible you are, choke,
right? Reach across, keeping this leg tight. I'm sitting up. Oh yeah, he's already got that there. It's not gonna really help him much. He's gonna have any sort of grip from there. He's fighting a losing battle. Sweet. Moving on to the half guard style of all this. So once again, I was kind of showing a bunch of very unorthodox positions, but they work very well for me against guys that have this crazy idea in their head that they want to smash me. They generally like, I get smashed my whole career, so it's something that I very much know how to keep my wits about me when somebody's trying to pass my guard. And I'm flexible as hell, and I want you to pull me up, and I kind of want you to be demoralized by it, because I know I'm demoralized when I go against somebody that's like me. I'm trying to pull you up and do stuff, and I know how demoralizing it is, especially when you're getting around to north-south on a guy and he's got the speed in there, right? That's really annoying. A guy like Ryan Hall, who's got inverted guard for days, right? I wish I would have knew how to keep myself safer sooner. Who knows, I might be more flexible than I am now, but it's probably just age and wear and tear, that sort of thing. But let's go ahead and talk about half guard with this position here, right? He's got his leg, he's got his arm over my leg. Yeah, he might, yeah, this is usually the moment I'll think about that. As soon as they go thumb inside the collar here, if any of you rolled with me and you go to this position, I'm gonna try to trap you in this position straight away. I don't wanna name a couple of names. Yeah, I won't name any names who I catch with this all the time. But so I'm gonna straighten myself out. And depending on how flexible your shoulder is, I might be trying to just finish you straight away out of this. Okay, so I know his shoulder is pretty unflexible. So I'm pretty sure I'll get a tap pretty soon out of this. So I'll straighten out. I have this one trapped with the wrist. Elbow joint to the wrist. Okay, using that hook over the head, right? And I'm essentially gonna be able to escape my bottom leg that was at the head here. So to prevent him from rolling, I can keep this leg over the top here, right? Because I didn't quite have the ability to escape my bottom leg. So right now I'm just gonna start to torque my opponent's shoulder up, yep, and we get a tap. Very strange tap out of this, okay? Very strange. Okay, so if that doesn't work, if they steep their wrist or something crazy, right? I'm gonna turn to my favorite position here, which is controlling my opponent's bottom hook, right? Not controlling the top hook and a seatbelt here. So I want to talk about that position more thoroughly, but I'm gonna show the shoulder lock. So yeah, thumb is right away. I spin. I'm taking my leg out because I want to try to stop him from rolling, and I'm just gonna crank the hell out of his arm. Yeah, right. Sometimes you keep this, try to go for the wrist. That's really what's gonna make him struggle and take that thing out. If I can, I actually want to keep control of this thing all the while. See how I kept his wrist? Might be able to get all that going on. I could keep this back here. The beauty of this is now he doesn't have much defense on his neck, right? And I'm going to talk about this position. Okay. So let's get close to the camera. Face this way. Yeah, we're going to do together. Face this way. I'm going to just talk about that. Go closer. A little bit further. Yeah, the wonders of live television. Not television. Okay, so I'm going to control the bottom hook in this case, but I'm going to usually have it in my mind, especially at our gym. Everybody's really good at defending this near side arm. Okay, so I'm going to kind of show, it's a little bit probably off topic slightly, but it's, Gumby would always say there's a beginning, a middle, and the end. And after those positions that I'm showing, I'm generally trying to think about my back finishes. And it's good to kind of always drill to completion. Okay, so I'm going to move backwards a little bit. Okay, I'm going to control both hooks. And my game, I generally don't like to control both hooks, but I kind of have to show the origins of my thinking on this. Okay, so I have double under. I'm reaching for the collar. This is a great drill to do if you have like a dummy like Chuck has, or if you just have like a dog or something that you can throw a gi on or anything. Like this is something you guys can practice very easily. Okay, so this is a drill, mostly a drill. I wouldn't normally start with double unders, but it's just a way that I can practice. The gi's kind of like a guide. So I'm always kind of opening this thing up. Okay, opening, not pulling down, opening up. Don't freaking pull down, open this up. Okay, because my right hand is under, I'm gonna pull my left one out. What does it mean by out? I mean pull it out of their armpit. Okay, because I see people when I teach this, is that they start trying to choke them from under the armpit. That's not gonna work. Okay, you might make them very uncomfortable, start spilling some blood, but they're not going to get choked. So this is the drill. Pulling your arm out. What does out mean? Outside of the armpit. And now going back towards the neck, because that's where people breathe. That's where the carotid arteries are. That's where all the good submission tap come forth. Their neck. That's where they breathe, right? So there's a couple different theories on this grip. My first instructor was like, just grab as tight as possible, right? But that's going to create some torque on your wrist. Is what it is. They're going to tap eventually, but not a lot of longevity in it. But depending on who I'm going with, that's what I'm going to want to do. There's 2 fist lengths below the earlobe. This theory is fabric on one side, forearm on the other. Works just fine. Generally, you'll need just these 2 to 3 fingers. Grabbing a whole fistful is ideal, but a lot of times people are peeling this off, and you'll generally be finishing people with 2 or 3 fingers on that. I would prefer to get my full fist. People are really pesky about peeling those off and hurting your fingers. And generally, I feel like my pinkies are the ones that are going to pop more often. And they definitely do because they're weaker. So that being said, left arm over the neck, falling to the left side. Why? Because the other side is better for my opponent. He can block with his shoulder. We always want your choke arm facing the sky. Unless you have a super deep RNC, it really doesn't matter which side they defend at that point. But the gi forces us to adhere to these rules, right? I'm not going to finish my opponent so well on the other side, but I'm going to show what I mean by that. So pull him down to the side here, and we have our basic chokes. Okay, so let's talk about basic chokes, because once again, frame of mind is super important. Okay, so we're here. And another thing too about the hooks are designed to control the hips, not the legs. Don't cross your feet. I'm sure all of us have heard this a million times, but all of us still make this mistake, right? I prefer not to expose my feet to my opponent. Remember, if you cut your opponent's arms and legs off, they're just the box. To control the box, you got to control at the root of the problem, right? Just like you want to chop the tree down at the root of the problem. Anyway, I got to talk about chokes here. Right now, my arm is bent at a 90-degree angle. Okay, to finish this, I'm just going to straighten it all the way out. Okay, so the first choke that we go for is this under the head. Almost, it's a half Nelson. It's basically just a half Nelson collar choke. So right now I'm going really loose because it's kind of a D move to go really tight on this when you're drilling, right? So I'm going to start to straighten my body out, escape my forearm to the mat, stretch everything out, and I know when to let go on this. I know how it feels. We're only morbidly curious for about a second at best. And also, it's really interesting that it's funny. So I'm actually processing the submission faster than my opponent, I think, because you got to think this is also very off topic, but like the electrical signals that get passed take a certain time to reach the brain. There is a certain time period, right? So you kind of have to know when to let go, because it does take not necessarily a second, but some sort of increments of microseconds for your opponent to feel that. So there is opportunity if somebody's going really crazy to really hurt your opponent. You weren't aware of it coming because it just happened so fast, right? There is kind of a time period. So we'll go here. For some reason, I can't bring my arm over my opponent's neck, which is usually the case. We're going to go for what's called the zipper choke. And there's not a lot of names for chokes that aren't like traditional, like Japanese names or whatever, but there is a name for this one, zipper choke. Or, you may say cross collar or whatever. My old instructor wasn't very helpful in that regard. I'd be like, hey, coach, what was that choke? He'd be like, choke. I'd be like, oh, thanks. I'm glad I'm asking questions. And I just let him to stop asking questions after that. And it's like, I'm not going to hear any answer I don't want to hear. So same old thing. I'm pulling the same thing with my left arm, but I'm going to pull the top arm here down and across. Okay. Stretch, pull the other one down across. And I know exactly when to let go on this. And really extending my hips. So I'm really extending my body on it. Okay. And one more that's really good for us to practice while you're in the sitting teddy bear position is your bow and arrow. Okay. This is also kind of a unique position for my dummy to be in. But you'd be surprised. This is once again an in-between position. You might find them there, whatever the situation is. I want to practice my bow and arrow. So I'm going to reach through, same old thing. So you can practice your arm bars too, but I don't want to go too far on that. So I'm going to switch my hook. Okay, my hook goes to the hip. Now I'm going to reach for the belt. I mean, not for the belt, but for the knee joint. Okay, sometimes the knee joint, sometimes you're reaching inside the deeper inside the knee joint. I'm just going to use this, turn my opponent over. And I've got an extreme angle on this, so there's going to be a lot more torque. Okay, I'm going to lean more towards the knee and stretch out the same old way. Okay, so those are the basic chokes that you can practice from here. But the whole reason why I started showing this is to show how to grip switch. Okay, what's the best way to show this? Maybe this way. Maybe. Okay, so remember how I was telling you, most people will really defend the arm over the neck, right? And generally we're already on this side. Okay, so I'm already kind of conceding that, all right, I've lost that battle. So I'm going to use my other hand automatically and start reaching over to the other side collar here. Okay, this has forced him to change his priorities, right? If he does, that's great. If he does that too soon, I'm just going to go back to the near side. I love to mess with my opponent on this. Like, you don't know which arm you need to defend. But let's talk about maybe, yeah, he's like, okay, I know I'm good because I got this near side arm. Everybody says that if I'm on this side and I got the arm here, this is good. Sometimes they even move it over, or they even move it over here. Yeah, this is probably not the best thing for me to let happen. So let's say he keeps the arm over on this side. I'm trying to stay strong on this. Okay, so I'm going to use my top leg and go put it on the head. Kind of like what I was talking about with Gumby earlier today, monkey mount. It's kind of like a monkey back mount here. I'm going to use this to push my opponent away. Because he knows what's good for him. He's keeping me tight, he's staying ear to ear. He knows if I extend him out, it's going to be bad for him. So if something's bad for my opponent, it's good for me. If it's good for me, I want to do it. And I want to stretch my opponent out to the other side and think about choking. Or at least just think about getting him to the other side. Okay, I went pretty vigorous with that. Here, thinking about that arm. So we're here. Yeah. So right now I'm just going to think I'm going to take him over. So that was more for the bow and arrow, but watch just this switch that I can do. So I'm going to go foot on the ground. He might think he's going to get out on that side. He might want to put his hip over there, but he actually kind of helps me out a little bit, right? So here we are with this one hook in, one hook out position. So I'm going to move. Let's move to the middle here. So why all this long-winded explanation? Because at the end of the position that I was showing before, not really quite a sweep per se, but it's a back take. I want to show this finish that I like to do. It's based on just how my opponents have always been reacting when I've been training with them. It wasn't necessarily something I was taught. It's just something that I had to develop because you got to be a problem solver in jiu-jitsu. Basically, your true test of your ability is if you can problem solve in the moment or taking time to strategize to do things. For me, this stuff keeps me up at night. If I train every day, like this stuff's gonna keep me up at night, and I literally have to tell my brain to stop thinking about it. And of course, I get sweaty and I start getting warm in my bed, and you can't go to sleep because you're just thinking about jiu-jitsu. Okay, so I'm gonna go over on this side here. I'm gonna control one hook in, one hook out. Okay, I like this because I can keep my opponent at bay and I can do stuff to them. I like being dynamic. Okay, so he's worried about my near side. Just trying to make sure we're not shot. It's like we're previously shot. He's worried about this arm. Turn towards your chuck. There we go. Worry about this arm, so I'm going to think about going over right away. Okay, so right now because of this leg out, I'm going to have the ability to push off here. And I'm going to be thinking about going for my choke right away on this. Where before I was kind of showing I can use this leg to kind of push off and turn my opponent to the side. Right now, I'm using this situation. It's good to have a lot of different sequences with legs and know what you can do with your position. So right now, I'm just going to choke my opponent on the other side. I'm going to push my hips behind his back. Okay, and he's definitely going to be changing his priorities at that point. I'm going to switch to the other side. I want to try to trap his arm and finish him. So I got to show a couple different angles on this, best as one can. Oh yeah, it's probably this. Here, one hook in, one hook out, right? Oh, yeah, he's already over there. I'm already over the neck. I already know I got him. And I reach deep. I reach deep because I want to let him know he's getting choked when I start to press him out here. Yep. If I see it here, and it's really, really deep, so I got to loosen up and be nice. Really, really effective situation. Okay. And I stretched out a lot further than I thought. It's good because I'm really going into the library and not really keeping things like not necessarily coherent, but things are a little bit unorthodox. Okay, so I'm going to show that full sequence of events there. Like, what was he even showing before? Here we are. And I remember, don't worry, I remember. Boom. Turn. Here we are. Everything's going to come out. That's fine. He's thinking, oh, I really need to defend my near side neck. Great, if you can. Great. I feel like I have the arm trap. So I'll just choke him, right? Let's say he gets that arm out, which arm out. You want to defend yourself, right? He's going to try to defend the near side neck. That's fine, because I've already reached for the other grip. Okay, reach the other grip, push him to the side, and finish. Right now, his arm got trapped, and that's great. Let's move one more time. Show one more time and get us all wrapped up. There. This is where to establish shot. There's a lot of movement. I'm trying to pay attention to what we're doing. Right now, so I'm sometimes using my hook on the far leg, sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there. Spin, controlling. Here we go. Yep, he's gonna defend his near side neck, and he should, right? Boom. Foot on the hip right away. Extend and switch him to the other side. Right now, I put my half guard. That's fine. I can still finish from here just fine. You know, also his arm will still stay stuck. I can pummel for this. We can do this too. If I lose everything, he's still in crucifix, or not necessarily crucifix. I still have an arm trap. Or once again, we have our back triangles. Just trapping everything. All right, so let's go ahead and get our keys all tied up. Oh, actually, I want to show one last thing. I left something out because it's a little crazy, but I want to show one last thing. It's almost like a bonus. So it's definitely something that, once again, I've developed against certain opponents from these weird positions. And it also kind of resembles like a pro wrestling move, lack of any better terms. Okay. So let's see what's going on here. See if I can recreate this. So here we go. So I'm going to start rolling through here, but my opponent thinks he's going to roll. Yeah, that's fine. Roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch it. Chuck quite doesn't know what he's doing here. That's fine, because it's a weird position. I'm going to keep you here. Okay. I have his. It's hard to see, but my left leg is trapping his arm right now. Okay. If he went back up, he feels like he's going right back up into his dude, which he kind of is. Right. So he's here because he's like, oh crap. See how I'm sitting up? And so when he tries to roll, I'm going to catch his upper body. Okay. Catching his upper body. And I also want to try to catch his other arm here. Okay. So let's get to a better shot. But what in the heck is going on here? It's really weird. Sometimes you're here. He's going to roll. Now I got both legs in a reverse position over his shoulder. Very, very strange position, right? Almost. But the beauty of this too is he's thinking like, oh crap, what can I do from here? If he doesn't want to lift his head up, I'm going to come up, right? Usually they're doing some sort of variation thinking that they're going to sit up, right? So if I can, obviously I can reach inside of the collars. The first thing I'll generally do from here, because it's easy, I'm just going to go Ezekiel choke. Just going to reach through, grab my own sleeve. I'm just going to choke this poor sucker. Yeah. Very freaking unorthodox. And I might be able to find just find the perfect position to get you choked out there. Go here, right? It's generally going to work better from this open position here, right? Through. Let's get you over here. There we go. So he's going to roll. I want to catch him so he doesn't go to that side. Right now, he almost trapped himself even worse with his arm. We'll go back. So roll over your shoulder. Yeah, straighten my leg. Yeah. See this? You know, this is not where I want to be. So I want to go on one side or the other. This is actually a position maybe, once again, you might be able to set up from a double under passing situation on the other side of the coin, right? But I prefer to be on the side of this and thinking choking my opponent, right? This is not good for Chuck. Nice. So let me go and talk about that really quick. So I might be double under here, and I might be controlling his sleeve. Might be mean about this. You can do the same old thing. You just throw my leg through. I can think arm lock, or I can think stepping over, and just being unorthodox on this, right? I might even be able to hit this arm here too. Right, this is a weird position. I want to show one more setup for this. Turtle, please. All right. Yeah, this is more of the pro wrestling setup. So they're saying turtle. A lot of time they will. I don't know why. Maybe getting out of turtle, you want to stay here. So I'm going to throw one hook in. I'm going to go heel inside. You're probably thinking, why is this going to work? It's because they're staying in. If they're going to stay here, I'm going to do stuff. Okay. So if I can, I want to throw both legs in. There's a lot of crazy things I can do from here. Obviously, it doesn't seem like the safest position, right? Where if he punches up, that's okay. He's doing what I want him to do. So they usually are enticed to not do that. Let's go back. So from here, I'm going to influence this position here. So if I can, I want to take them one side or the other because of where the camera is. I'm going to go over here. And I have a very strange position here. I'm just showing the camera. Got my legs trapped through, under, and I'm sitting up. I can choke or choke. I know it's probably hard to see, but here's what it is. That was the last thing that I wanted to show. Okay, team. If you know my game, you know I'm not BSing you that I've definitely done some of this stuff maybe to you or maybe to the people around you when you're watching. Hopefully this is going to make you more aware of what I'm doing or just respecting open guards in general, respecting just where you're putting your arms. For me, when I'm on top, I'm imagining all the crazy nonsense that I can do to myself, if that makes any sense, right? Anywhere you put your arm, there's somebody, it may not be that person right then, that is going to make you pay. So you're going to have to, kind of traverse those waters safely as much as possible. Well, anyway, team, I've extended this out very long. I don't need to do a cool down. I really need to pad much because my memory did that for us. Make sure to like and subscribe. I see that subscription number going up every day. Just like 1 or 2 or 3. Spread the word a little bit. It just makes the page look better. Once again, give us some feedback. It's looking the future is not looking too good right now for when we're going to be opening. There's like contracts that need to get drafted up and equipment that needs to get bought. Situations ironed out, but do what you can, team, and try to stick with us. And I'm going to show you much of what I've spent my whole adult life doing. I'm going to try to spread as much knowledge as I can. Appreciate it, everybody.